Artists and friends Carol Tikijian and Robin Dolarian had a big opening planned in July for their new exhibition at Gallery 25. It was going to be the first show since pandemic restrictions were relaxed by Governor Newsom. Unfortunately, the day before opening, those restrictions had to be tightened, and the exhibition never got to be seen except by special appointment. However, I was able to arrange a special tour with the artists for me and CMAC photographer Cesar Perez. Here's our report. Welcome. We are here today at Gallery 25, which is in the M Street Arts Complex in downtown Fresno. This is a really interesting situation we're in because this exhibition is never really going to be seen by many people because of the coronavirus. So our artists today are Carol Tikijian and Robin Dolarian, and they're both well-known artists in the Fresno area, and they collaborated on this show for a couple of reasons. One is that they're good friends. Another is that they share their Armenian heritage. They thought that it would be an interesting collaboration to kind of get together and see what they could do. So, Carol, when you found out that you're going to be doing this show, what went through your head? What were your thoughts?
Well, I hadn't really made work for a while. So it was like what to do. And of course, we were immersed in the COVID situation. And so I was thinking about that. And I kind of work, I want to say, by the seat of my pants. So I just start building things and it just sort of magically comes together. And so that's what happened with this
So
work.
some of your work is specifically about COVID. Some of it isn't. The title of the show, Coronian Art. Tell us about that.
Well, the Corona, and so we said Coronian, we put the IAN on the Corona to give a nod to our Armenian heritage.
So this was an acknowledgement that this pandemic has really affected us all.
I think so, yeah.
Before we get into the show, let's talk a little bit about Gallery 25.
Okay.
Of course, all studios and galleries in the Fresno area and all across the country have been really impacted by the virus. Gallery 25 was actually going to be one of the first, or the first, to have a show open under the social distancing guidelines.
Yes.
You weren't able to do that.
Right.
Can you tell us what is Gallery 25 looking ahead to?
We are going to be moving out of this location at the first week of August. We're going to be showing our art virtually. We'll be having virtual shows at gallery25.org. And we just wanted to make sure everyone's safe, and we wanted to protect our community and our artists.
When you say it's going to be virtual shows, there'll be actual works of art, but you're going to be making videos.
Right, kind of like what we're doing today.
What we're doing
yes.
here, yeah.
Until at such a time that we could have an actual physical location.
I mean, Gallery 25 is a powerhouse. It's been on for a long time, and I'm sure that whatever form it's in, it will continue.
We've been around since 1974, and we don't want to shut it down.
Right.
So we want to make it work and make it work for everybody. And so this was what we thought would be the best way to do that.
Well, let's go ahead and take a look at some of your work.
The name of this piece is Covacita, and I believe in Spanish when you add the cita at the end of a noun, it's a term of sort of endearment. I was thinking about how during our sheltering, and when I learned about how the earth was kind of renewing itself and the air was clean and the waters were clean, I was thinking how the earth really loved the COVID virus. So this part represents the earth, and of course this is the COVID, so Covacita. The long term I've always used for my art are constructions, because I use a lot of power tools, a lot of wood. I like to build things, so they're constructed. This was constructed out of wood and found objects, obviously. And it is in the genre of assemblage. And
Tell us about the headpiece.
well, that's a barbed wire. So it's a crown of thorns, which is a corona. You know, corona is a crown. And, you know, you may move it into kind of a religious icon.
Did you do anything to the head besides?
I painted the eyes. One eyeball is green and one iris is green and one's brown. And of course I painted the lips and put a little color on her cheeks.
Prettied her up a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, great. Well, let's move on to your next work.
This piece is called Covid Novia, the Temptress. So this is a female. She's very tempting and yet she's dangerous. So she kind of has this mixture of emotions. And then if you would go around the back, there's a hand protruding out of the back with crossed fingers that might mean she's telling a lie.
She's saying that she might be telling a lie.
She's got secrets.
So the sensual part of the piece is clear. What do you see as these kind of the flowy?
Well, they're very
tendrils?
organic.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like a ballerina or a bride or some kind of feminine, you know, attire, and yet it's very hard and rough, and so it's a complex sort of outfit she has on, I guess you could say that. There's something very illicit about this piece, and yet she's innocent. Mm-hmm. So she's very complicated.
Now, one thing we should say about your works in this show is that they are also boxes.
They are
you
boxes.
have a fascination with boxes.
I do.
Can we actually see the inside of this one? Because this inside is really...
This has a satin,
really
kind of
cool.
a very bridal, soft satin interior.
Well, and let's move over to your third piece here. Now, this is actually a non-COVID piece.
Yes. This piece, the title is Zavart, which is an Armenian female name. My mother's English version of that name is Gladys, so her Armenian name was Zavart. She grew up on a farm when they had a vineyard, and she used to cut grapes as a child with the family. And so this is a child's hand with a grape cutting knife. But what I was really thinking about was child labor and all the issues, you know, negative connotations about child labor. It wasn't a negative experience for her, but I think it tends to be for a lot of children. This black and white cording, I've used this a lot in a lot of my works in different ways, either painted or actual cording. To me, this represents a path, like the dotted line down the road, like journey. I use the broken mirrors quite a bit. I've kind of collected several lifetimes of bad luck, but I do like to use broken glass.
So what is it like to put up a whole exhibition and then nobody gets to see it?
Well, we are scheduling by appointment.
Oh, you are? Okay,
Yeah.
so you can come.
So
I was exaggerating
okay.
a little bit when
That's
no
okay.
one's ever going to get to
So
see it.
we have a little trickle that comes in by appointment,
Okay.
and we're happy. And we keep it very, you know, minimal and practicing all the safety measures.
Right.
So there's been a handful of people that have seen it. It is kind of very disappointing that we didn't get the normal art hop crowd.
Right, that sort of buzz of energy and excitement.
I really enjoyed putting the show together with Robin, and I think our work really flows together, and so I was happy with the collaboration.
So Robin Dolarian.
My father, as an art professor, introduced me to art at a very young age, so I was enthralled by Jackson Pollock and Arshel Gorky, and from there I just followed that same style my whole life. Mm-hmm. And then as an Armenian and a Christian, it's trying to make art that's relevant to who I am and what I believe, and the whole idea of this sort of Armenian orthodoxy style in combination of being a modernist artist.
So one interesting thing about these pieces I noticed is that as you back up, the effect kind of changes. Do you do your stuff and then go back up 10 feet away, or is that?
They actually do. They do take months of work because it's just.
I mean, they mount. It's like the intricacy.
Yeah, it's just trying to work and rework, and reading about the abstract expressionists of going in, building it, then tearing it down, and rebuilding it and tearing it down. So there's that whole process. Again, a lot of artists, like yourself, you do it because you have to do it. You know, you're in your discipline because that's who you were created to be, and that's what it comes down to. I make the art in order to find some sort of relevance of who I am and why I'm alive.
So we have more shards of mirrors here, which is an interesting similarity to some of Carol's stuff.
Again, we were talking earlier that Armenian aesthetic seems to be pretty consistent with a lot of artists. We have that sort of common Byzantine sensibility, I suppose. And I like it. I like the whole fact that there is some sort of weird genetic tie to our past as...
Well, and when you mentioned how much time it took to assemble this, and if you get like really close, it's amazing, all the stuff. I mean, there are the toys that are bigger, but then when you start looking really closely, but it also kind of reminds me of maybe those Byzantine artists that spent an entire lifetime, doing like the tiles.
Yeah, I don't know if they'd really appreciate being in my category, putting myself in that category.
It's a different time.
Yeah. It's again who you are as a person and how you take in your information and process it.
So do you title your works?
No, I don't. I really don't. Mm-hmm. I just I work almost every day for a few hours, just because I need to. It's a part of who I am.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's take a look at this one because this is a little different. This is a picture of my
portrait partner, Lucine Vardanova, and I did it during the COVID. Actually, I started it roughly 9 years ago. Mm. And then her father worked with Parajanov, who is an Armenian filmmaker, and you can see a faint trace of her father behind her. How I started it was pretty much in the style of these crosses, but then I started again, and the reason I wanted to talk about this was when you start painting a portrait, which I started in a traditional sense, and then all these ideas of all these people that are so great at portraits, saying, why would I even attempt to paint like a Cézanne or a Matisse or, even something realistic? It would be, so I was trying to stay on that path of it. Let's try to make it have some sort of traditional, like a Fauvist work or neo-impressionist or whatever, some goofy style. But then it was like, well, this is like reinventing the wheel. I'm never going to be able to paint anything outside of my style, so I better just do what I know how to do. So it was that struggle of I really want to paint, a painting that is more realistic. And then again, I looked at it and it's like, wow, it looks like a painting. Not as good as those other people.
What strikes me about this is that if a portrait is supposed to evoke sort of like a sense of a person or the feeling or the emotion, you can definitely sense that.
Well, thanks.
I mean, I've never met her, but I feel like I kind of know her a little bit.
She's an Armenian lawyer.
by looking at them. I just thank you for allowing us to come and take a look at your exhibition. I think we all have to just be more creative in terms of how we get the word out about the art that's going on. I mean, the art isn't going to stop. And so we just have to figure out new ways to reach the public.
And we appreciate you taking the time
Sure.
to do this for us.
Really?
You're very welcome. And I look forward to coming back and seeing wherever Gallery 25 ends up.
We will let you know.
I'm sure you'll let us know. Like I say, it's been around a long time and it's not going to go anywhere. So.
Right, hopefully not.
Thank you for being with us today. If you want to know more about these artists, Carol Tikijian and Robin Dolarian, you can go to their websites. Gallery 25 has its own fine website, and I'm sure it will keep you updated on what's happening with the studio. Thank you. It's good to know that artists are still creating and showing their work, even as the pandemic makes it more difficult to see it. Gallery 25 has been a Fresno treasure for decades, and it's good to know it will persevere.